Hello everyone, Jessica here with another layout for Spiegel Mom Scraps. Use my code Jessica15 in the shop to save 15% off. And today I am using the Road Tripping Sequin Mix. And I am pairing this up with the Trail Mix collection by Simple Stories. So I've got a camping photo here of my son pulling up my circle cutter here by We Are Memory Keepers. So I have set this to, I think it was about 7.5 inches for my circle. I'm just testing it out here. I'm not actually cutting yet. And right now is when I'm actually cutting on top of my cutting mat here. And I think it was 7.5 if I remember right, but I went ahead and distressed the edges of the inside of that circle that I cut out, because what I want to do is I want to string a bunch of strings or some hemp twine through the middle here, and I'm going to do some sequin threading today. So here's my hemp that I'm pulling out. This is just some black, and it's a little thick to go through a normal needle. I just bought some really cheap craft needles from the craft store. I think it was like $2 or something crazy, that had small heads on them. So it was small enough to go through sequins like this whenever I thread them on here, but it was also a little bit small for normal hemp. So what I did was I pulled the hemp apart. It's made out of about 3 strands, and I pulled them apart so that I just used one individual strand whenever I was using all of these across my page. So there is one of them. I'm just going to go ahead and tape both sides of this down. I'm pulling it a little bit tight because when I pulled the strands apart from each other, they did kind of curl up a lot and kind of get really super curly. So I just made sure that they were tightly taped whenever I tape them onto the back side here. So you'll see towards the end here, whenever I finish these up, that my paper is really pulling towards itself in the middle, but it flattens out just fine, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and attach it here to this lovely craft paper. But before I attach it down, I am actually going to do a whole bunch of splatters here with some various distress oxides and some Heidi Swapp gold color shine. So the colors that I put down was Uncharted Mariner, the yellow one here is Squeeze Lemonade, and then the reddish one was Crackling Campfire. So this one's the Heidi Swapp gold color shine going on last. I'm drawing up each layer in between because I don't want them to blend together, and I'm very impatient on waiting for them to dry. So here's my circle. It's all finished. I'm going to go ahead and put some easy tear tape, but I'm just focusing on the bottom section first. I want to adhere this down section by section. That way I don't get any warping or anything. So I did cut down my back craft paper a little tiny bit, so I didn't have to worry too much about lining it up perfectly. So I cut about 1/4 inch the whole way around off. So here is some more of the easy tear tape that is from Thermoweb. I am sticking that down, peeling those backing pieces off so that I can stick down my next section, pulling it tight, and then I'll finish up the top portion here by adding just a little bit more. So I like that tape. It's super easy to use. It is just like it says, easy tear tape. You just kind of pull it apart and tear it to the sections that you need, and then pull the backing off, and it's super duper sticky. So I know that's never going to go anywhere. I'm going to go ahead and stick down this top section. And then I've got my little centerpiece all done, and I've got all the sequins on there. I didn't want sequins on each and every strand. I wanted it to kind of look random and fun, so I didn't thread them through all of them. So I'm just working on my date stamp here. What I do with my photos is I organize all of them in my books by date order, and I write the dates on the back of them when I print them. I actually have a video showing you this, how I store them in my albums, which albums I use, all of that. So I will grab that link and link that below too, is if you want to watch that one. But that's why I have my dates on all of my photos. So I grabbed my date stamp and programmed in my date, so that's ready to go, while I matted my photo with some of the pattern paper from the small paper pad. I've pulled out a couple of these little die cuts from one of the ephemera packs, and I'm going to actually make a little signpost here. So I pulled out some popsicle sticks. I have 2 different sizes. I ended up using a normal size one, which is the bigger one, and I'm just going to add these signs on here and then add a couple more so it just looks like a directional sign. So I'm just using a little bit of Nuvo glue. That's going to dry clear so you won't see it, and it allows me to pop these onto that stick, and I know they're not going to go anywhere. I'm just going to pull out this sticker book from this collection. If you have watched my videos before when I use Simple Stories, this is my #1 favorite thing. I absolutely love that Simple Stories includes these sticker books because they are literally jam-packed with so many things to use on your layouts, and they last forever. I love these little sticker books. So I'm pulling off a lot of these little boardy bits and just adding little signs to my signpost here. So I'm going to actually pop my photo up with some of the Big Mama foam tape. This is the 3D foam tape roll from the shop. You can get that at 15% off as well with my code. And I'm just cutting sections of it off to actually pop up my photo just because my sequins give it dimension, so I wanted my photo to have dimension as well. So I'm just going to pop my signpost up as well just to match the dimension of my photo. So I went ahead and stuck that down right beside my photo. That's my little guy. We were camping and having a great time, and my sister bought him this shirt for, I think for Christmas one year, and it finally fit him, so I made sure I packed it for our camping trip, and he loved it, and he had to show me. This is how I clean up my sequins. So I had a pile of sequins left over there. I just scooched my glass mat towards the edge of my table here, and I just put my bag there and just kind of scooched them right into the bag. I was going to pop this little file folder there at the top, but I really didn't like the way that it looked, so I opted out of that. I am going to use that little circle though. I think it's super cute. Just pulling out one of my little bowls that I bought from a craft show, and I'm going to use that to dump in my ephemera bits that I'm not using. So I like that little backpack there. I'm going to just kind of create a little cluster there on the right side of my sign, and then I'm going to create a little cluster on the left side of my photo as well. So I'm just pulling out my sequins and making sure that none of them are in behind my photo because, hey, I took a lot of time to thread all those through. So I want to make sure that I'm getting the most bang for my buck there, and they're all hanging out around my photo and they can be seen. So I'm just going to tuck a couple other things here. I'm going to pull out some white paint. It's just some normal white acrylic paint from Walmart, nothing crazy or expensive. I'm going to pull that out, water it down a little bit, and add some white splatters to my layout in a couple places. I'm probably going to add a little embellishment cluster in the top left just to balance this layout out since it's a little bit heavy on this right side. So if I add a few things on that top left corner, it should create some balance there. I love these little bugs in the collection. I've used quite a few of them. I think I ended up using 3 or 4 of them on this layout, but I just think they're so adorable and I love them. So I ended up popping a couple of them up with some of that 3D foam tape, and then I really love those little stars that are just kind of clustered, and it kind of made me think that I have some stamp sets like that, and I really love the way that these are clustered together. I mean, I could make my own by just stamping some of my stamps in a little cluster like that and cutting out around them. It wouldn't be that hard. So if you wanted to do that, you could totally do that even if you don't have this collection. So now I'm just pulling out some glue dots. I'm just going to put one behind that to stick that down. And I wanted to pop some little thread, kind of thread twiddles or whatever they're called, in behind that little cluster just to give it some extra dimension. So I'm just going to tuck that in behind there. So I just put a little bit of Nuvo glue in behind there so that it had something to sit on and it stays put. And then here I am just going to put some more of that little thread here. I like that little end piece that's kind of hanging out. And then I ended up popping up my little star cluster with some of the 3D foam tape so it could sit on top of that. It wasn't sticking very well, so I ended up having to add a little bit more glue to it, but that's okay. But I just love this one. I think it's so cute, and I had this idea that I wanted all those little strings in the middle, kind of like guitar strings or something, but just all messy and crazy, and I just love the way that that worked out. My son is in the background playing with this like tube thing that you can pull out and makes a lot of noise. So if you can hear that, I'm sorry, but he's being good. He's just being a little crazy with that little tube thing. I don't know what they're called. So here I'm just building that top piece there. I'm just grabbing a couple of stickers from the sticker sheet from this collection, and I've stamped my date at the top there. And then I'm just going to add a couple of these little brads, and then here I'm coming in with my acrylic paint. I watered it down a little bit too much the first time around, so I added a little bit more paint to it just to thicken it back up. So there is a point where it gets too watery. You want it watered down enough that you can splatter it on with a paintbrush, because if you try to do it straight, it won't splatter, but you don't want it so watery that it just waters down that color and it's not white anymore. So I decided I want to do some journaling, but I want to add a little chipboard sticker here first, just with some little arrows. I thought that looks super cute, and it gives it a little bit of direction as to where my journaling starts. So I'm just going to add my journaling in here around this photo, which also doubles as the challenge this month for Scrap the Boys. So the challenge this month over there is to do creative journaling. So that's what I've done here, is I just did my journaling around my circle. So I'll add that challenge to their Facebook group, and I can link that below for you. So thank you guys so much for watching. Here's the finished layout today. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you and all of your sweet comments. So thanks again, and I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.